now we are back. Now there's another feature that I forgot to mention, and that is that these little triangles that we saved up here are going to go in between here. And so we want to choose triangles that are not in use, so that, in other words, so that I'm not using, I'm going to use the blue here because I have the blue over here. And I'm going to use probably a plaid up here on top because I don't have the plaid in this grouping. Does that make sense? And over here I'm going to use red, and I'm going to use my soldiers. Or I'm sorry, not soldiers, but you know what I'm saying. The wallpaper, as I call it. All right, and that one is going to be just a little bit crooked because your design's going to be sideways. But you know what? That's okay. And I'm just going to lay these on here so that I know which ones are going to go where, and then I'm going to glue them in. So I've got my red down there. I'm going to put my, let's see, I've got another red one. Maybe I'll just wait on that one. Got plaid, was up there, so we're going to put a plaid down here. We're going to put a blue one. Of course, I keep not picking up any blue ones. I need a blue one for here. Here I need a wallpaper one, this one. So I'm just going to go through and put or add in these triangles where they need to go. And I'm going to fast forward through all of this too, so that you don't have to watch and wait for this. All right. All right, just coming to the end of getting all these triangles put on. And if you've been watching the fast forwarded version of this, you've watched as I've put some on, taken a few off. I found that placing them all on there allowed me to kind of decide where I wanted things to go and rearrange things if I wanted. And yeah, it just makes it a lot easier when it comes time to putting the adhesive on, if you know what order things are going to go in. So, and then because I had to overlap a few of these to make enough room and compensate for the 1/2 inch that we took off of the white page, some of the triangles do overlap just a tiny little bit, not much really at all. And so you'll find as you put those on that you do just adjust them just a little bit, but that's what our repositionable adhesive is for. So that makes it so much easier. And I really like this. I think it's such a cute design. It reminds me of a quilt. So that's really cool. So we're going to take our laser border and I'm going to cut it right down the center. And if you are wanting to make sure that yours is exactly centered, you can measure it. 6 inches would actually put you right in the middle of the K right here, the little whoop-de-doo on the side of the K. And I really don't like that. I don't want to cut it there. So I'm just going to adjust it just slightly to the left so that I'm really cutting it directly between the two words, United Kingdom, because that's where my page break is going to be. And I don't want to cut off the word right in the middle. So we're going to just do like so. And then we're going to embellish from there. So let's go ahead and we'll add on our border. I'm just going to center it right here in the middle so that it's going to go straight across the center of my border that we just created. All right, I'm going to glue down this one too, using my repositionable adhesive so I can go right over the openings in my in that laser border without worrying about it sticking down. All right, so there we've got our laser border. I lined it all up so it's all in the right place. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get my, I call these fidget cut scissors, but you know what? I think they're called something different, and which is escaping me right now because when I'm under pressure, that's what happens. So I am just going to go ahead and cut these flags apart so that I have two still stuck together, 2 sets of 2 flags stuck together. Does that make sense? There's one set, and I'm just going to flip this over and go ahead and do a second set. And I'm just curving that top part of the flag because I feel like it has a natural curve there and it's not as noticeable that I've cut them apart. Now I can add these on right here on the corners of my border. And until I decide whether I want to maybe add just a little bit more pomp and circumstance to that top part, I'm going to just leave it like that. Now, the other 2 borders that I'm going to use are the tea set and the crown, but I'm sure that you avid scrapbookers out there can already see that there's a dilemma here because I have a white border and I have white in my laser borders. So they're not going to show up as nicely if I go ahead and just put them on here like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use just a little bit of our flag material, of our flag page, and I'm going to cut a couple of strips off of that. And just to make it just a little bit more interesting, I'm going to go ahead and use my decorative trimmer, And that way it will give it just a little bit of a wave. I'm not going to use the big wave. I'm just going to use the small one, or the wider wave. So I'm just going to trim the edge so that we have a wavy edge, and then I'm going to go ahead and move it to the edge of my trimmer and down to the bottom bumper. So started on this top bumper. Now I'm moving it to the bottom bumper and moving it out to the edge. It's just a convenient way of measuring. Okay, then I can take these and put them up against that border, and they'll be more easy to be seen. Now, obviously, because it's not a straight border, some of the border is going to be popping off the edge, but you know what, that's okay. I like it for a little bit more interest in my page, since I have so many straight cuts up here. It gives it just a little more smoothness down here on the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and do one more, because I need it to match on the other side. So I'm just going to pop up here like this, cut a second one, and then we'll be golden. All right, not quite golden, but we're getting there. Okay, so these are going to go across here. Now, notice that unless we cut another ½ inch off, they are going to go all the way to the edge and across the navy. But you know what? I kind of like that. So I'm going to leave it that way. And this is going to go right across the bottom, because we want as much space as possible for photos. So I'm going to move this down just a skosh. Okay, in addition to that, I'm going to get my trimmer back out, because these are not, I'm not going to do one side crowns and one side T. I want these to be even. I want crowns on both sides and teacups on both sides. So I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to cut both of them in half, but so we're going to cut this. Now you'll notice that for the crowns, you're going to be cutting straight through the center of a crown. If that bothers you, then just adjust it. You can cut one of the crowns out so that you have an even number on both sides, or you can put, you know, half on one side and half on another side. It is completely up to you. I'm just cutting straight down the middle, and I lost a little bit of the cross on top, but I think it'll be all right for my needs. So, and then I'm going to cut through the middle of the teacups as well, but let me show you what we have to do with the teacups, because when we put the edge of this teacup right at 6 inches over here on the side to find the middle, what do you see? We're cutting straight through the teacup. And I don't really want to do that in this instance. I want to cut around the teacup. So I'm going to use my fidget scissors, and I'm just going to cut as smoothly as I can around the teacup so that this teapot stays intact and this teapot, or this teacup, stays intact. And we will have just a little bit of overlap on one of the sides because of that teacup. Okay, but that's the only way that I know of that I can do that. If you have another idea, feel free to post it in the comments, and then other people can see it and possibly utilize that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut very carefully around the handle on this teacup and up over the edge, the lip. All right, so there I've got one half, and I'm just going to clean up this edge. I'm going to flip it. I find if I flip it over, then I get a more even edge, because otherwise it kind of bends just a little bit. All right. So what we're going to do, what I'm planning to do, is to go ahead and put my crowns in the center and then my T off next to it. You could just eliminate the teacups if you want. If you don't want to put the teacups, the tea set on there, and just put the crowns, you know, that would, I think, be totally appropriate, since really this layout is about the Queen and the royal family. You know, you could certainly just do the crowns and then maybe put some embellishments off to the side of each. Because I don't know if I'll actually get to use any more of this set, I'm just going to go ahead and use my teacups on here, because I think it applies in you know, kind of an odd way, but I can picture the Queen sitting down and having tea. So I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. All right. First thing I'm going to do though is go ahead and adhere my ribbons onto my page so that they are where I want them to be. Scoot this up just a little, make it a little bit more easy for you to see. I have my ribbons arching in the center of my page so that they meet together. This page takes a while when you consider the quilt work that goes across the top and the rest. So I don't really mean to, you know, spend forever on it, but it does just take a little bit of time to get it right. You know, you don't want it to be sloppy. All right. And repositionable adhesive all the way across, or, you know, sparingly, however you're going to do it. And however you want to line this up on your page, these crowns, just make sure that it matches the other side so they go on straight. So put on one side and then match up the other side by putting your two pages together like I did to do the ribbons. And then you match the design that you cut, just like so. Okay, so that where they meet in the middle, it's the same. Then we're going to, I'm going to add my tea off to the side here. And I just try to make it at the same height that I made the crowns, so it doesn't look wonky. And this is the side that's overlapping just a smidge. So my teacup overlaps the crown just a little bit, but because it's blue, it stands out and it's not covered up. All right, so this is gonna go away. Now, what we're gonna do is grab some of our stickers, and I need to remember where I put them. Here they are. All right, so the sticker set has these great buses, double-decker buses that you can use as borders on another set. I just didn't feel like it was appropriate on the Queen's page to stick buses on there. So I wanted it to be a little bit more regal. I'm gonna use the outline of the Great Britain countries. I'm going to use Big Ben because Big Ben is a well-known British landmark. I'm going to use the palace down here. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this just yet. I think some of it's going to be popped up and some of it's not. I'm going to use the guard because I just think he's cool. And I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use the eye down here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put these together to make a cluster. And the cluster is going to go right down here probably, but until I put my photos on, I'm not really going to worry about exactly where it's going to go. So I'm just going to kind of put these together and I'm going to make them overlap and kind of touch each other. I want there to be some angles and some differences to these, and I may go back and realign them just a smidge here and there, but for now I think that's the way my cluster is going to look, and it'll probably go down here in this corner. And then what I may do is go ahead and add a few more to this side, but let's see how it looks once we have photos on. So for now I'm just going to set this up here, and we need to, so I really love this picture of the Queen. I just think she looks really pretty there, and I really love this picture as kind of the beginning of her reign experience. And I love the picture of her with all of her jewels on, but I don't know if I want that one. So, you know, I'm just gonna kind of play with this just a little bit. I love this one of the scepter. It's just super clear, and you can see all of the beautiful jewels in her crown, and some more of these with the Royal Guard escorting her, maybe trying to decide whether to include her grandsons and her son on the page. I don't know. I really love this picture, this black and white photo. Maybe I'll crop that and put that in there. Or this black and white photo of her is lovely also. But I love this one of her smiling. I think it just sort of shows a little more of her gentle nature. So let's see, what have we got? I think we'll trim this one. I think I'm gonna hold off on this one because she's not smiling there, and I love her smile lines in this photo. She just looks so happy and so pleased. All right, so I'm gonna trim this one and make it just a little smaller. Just making sure that there's a black border all the way around, so it's not trimmed right on either one of the crowns that she's wearing. So it has a suitable frame around it, and then it will have probably another red frame around it. And then this one of her horse and this one of her dogs. I just feel like that's kind of her. So we may need to trim up a little bit more of some of these other ones. And that may mean that we need to scoot some of these and adjust them a little. So we're going to trim this one just a smidge. I apologize, this video feels like it's going to be so long, but hopefully with the fast forwarding it won't be quite so long. So we've got this one with her dogs that she loved so much, this one with her horse that she loved so much. We've got a before and an after. And this one that shows, I if you are familiar with the difference between these two crowns, I would love to know the difference. I probably should do a little bit of research on my own on YouTube, or I mean not on YouTube, but on Google. But I'm just not that great at doing research, guys. So I could probably ask my children. Actually, my oldest daughter, who is 28, she was telling me all about all kinds of things that she's learned about the United Kingdom over the last little bit here, watching and learning about the crown and the sovereign. And you know, I have to admit, we've done a little bit of that learning, because you know, as Americans, we just don't know that much about it. It's not our country, and you know, we may have come from Britain, but we just don't know a lot about it. And you know what, because she's reigned for so long, we haven't really had the occasion to feel like we needed to know about it, I guess. So there is that. All right, so if we put our photos on like this, if I put my photos on like this, then where am I going to put my embellishment? I was going to put a little bit down here. Now I'm thinking maybe that's not what I want. Probably maybe a little here, a little over here. Maybe I want to break up those stickers that I chose and add another one or two to it. Definitely want to mat some of these photos. So I'm gonna mat some photos, and we'll probably fast forward through some of this as well, because you probably don't care to watch me mat photos. I'm recording. All right, I don't think I'm gonna go ahead and mat every one of these photos. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick with the photos that we've gotten mounted, or that I've gotten matted so far. And have to replace my permanent adhesive now. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and mount these photos on the way they are. I'm going to go ahead and scoot this one out to the edge, and you'll notice that my border that I carefully cut, you can't even see it now, but that's okay. Not a big deal. I want to be able to see my photos more than anything else. And I'm going to leave the space that is right below her, right here. I'm going to leave that space to be able to go ahead and journal a bit, because I feel like that's important too. And oftentimes in modern scrapbooks, we don't really talk about journaling quite as much as we used to, but it is important to write the story, and this story is important. I want to write and document why it is that I felt like it was important to put this in my scrapbook, even though none of these photos are mine. I totally copied them off of Facebook, and I freely admit that, but I just really felt like it was important to honor everything that Queen Elizabeth contributed to this country. I've watched a little bit of some different series about her on television, and although, you know, who knows if all of the facts are accurate that are being represented by, you know, the people that created those, but even if, you know, some of them are not quite accurate, she was a remarkable lady. A remarkable lady in a time and an age when, you know, it was tough to be a world leader. She led her country and many people in many nations through a lot. And yes, and she's not the only leader in her country, but at the same time, there's something very honorable about the fact that she has held this position for so long, and I think done an amazing job. Here's hoping that those who come after her will be able to follow her example and be as beloved to the people that they represent, you know. All right, just about done here, and then we'll put our embellishments where they need to go and be on with it. You know what, I'm gonna lift this up and just tuck this underneath here. Her beloved corgis, cute little dogs, and her horse. I understand she was an avid rider, so that's why the horse is significant here with her saddle, and I'm assuming the groomsmen of her horse. All right. Oh, need to put these on some quick foam squares so they pop up. The little ones, I'm using the little ones just because I have an abundance of them, and because, you know, small places like where the flags come together right there, I don't want that to sag, so the small one fits right in there so nicely. Okay, so we're gonna just put that right there, and then let's see. So we're gonna journal right here. I think I need we could put those just like that, or we could do the opposites, but I kind of think we could actually, oh, those are pretty well stuck. I can put the palace, we could put the palace with the outline of the country, and maybe add a third one to that. So let me just stick some of these bigger foam squares on here real quick. And a small one so that we don't lose these sticky edges. Do I have any cut ones? Nope, I need to cut some, or cut one, I think, at least, so that I can do sorry I'm sniffing so much. I caught a weird head cold thing from my daughter, who came home not feeling well recently. I took her to the doctor. It's not COVID, it's just a cold. Sometimes it's good to find out it's not COVID, but then, you know, when they tell you there's nothing they can do about it, it's kind of like frustrating. So, not that they could do much if it's COVID other than just tell you, go home and don't hang out with friends, right? All right. So we're going to you know what, I'm not liking this either. Actually, maybe we could stick this right here. I'm not really liking that either. I need to elongate this just a little so that it fits better right there. Okay. Normally I would try to put some kind of a cute little journal box, but this time around, I think I'm just gonna leave the white page. I'm just gonna write right onto the white page, which is not something I do very often anymore, but this time, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll put these, the cool guard over here. Big Ben. The eye. Just about finished, guys. I hope that you create this layout, even if you don't do it for the same purposes that I have used this layout today. I hope that it's something that you can use and will use. It's such a cute way of making a border, and you know, using the laser borders that have been made for us is so fun, and really makes creating a border super easy. So I hope that you have those in your supply, in your stash, and can take advantage of using those, because they do make your layouts just that much better, and very, very, very fast. Anyway, here we go, and this is our finished layout. So barring my journaling, of course, that'll go there, and I may add just a little bit here, but I may just leave that too. And yet, at any rate, I hope that you have enjoyed being with me today and watching this. And I hope that in the end, it doesn't end up taking too long. We'll see after I speed things up and do some editing on it. But I do hope that you will use this. And until the next time that we are together, I'm wishing you many more creative moments. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day.